Lesson 3 is all about subtraction. We're also going to be working with addition and subtraction patterns. Now our first problem, we have to subtract 432 minus 257. So we're taking away 257 from 432. In order to subtract, we want to go ahead and we want to set these problems up. So we're working vertically. So we're going to say 432 minus 257. When we go ahead and solve this problem, we can see we're going to have to borrow from the 3. We've got 2 now, and we have 12. We're going to borrow from the 4 to get 3, and we have 12. Now we can go ahead and solve. 12 minus 7 is 5, and 12 minus 5 is 7, and 3 minus 2 is 1. Now, I already know you know how to subtract problems like this, but the important part about this problem is a little bit of key vocabulary. Whenever we're working with a subtraction problem, the number that we start off with on top is called the minuend. The number that we're subtracting from the minuend is called the subtrahend. So we're always subtracting the subtrahend. And then when we have a subtraction problem, the answer to that subtraction problem is always going to be called the difference. So we've got to be familiar with those words as we work through this lesson and through all the rest of the lessons in this textbook. Minuend minus subtrahend equals the difference. Let's move on to the next example. Let's look at this one. We've got $4 minus 35 cents. If we want to set this one up, let's go ahead and work vertically. So we've got $4, that's our minuend. 35 cents is our subtrahend. And we know that 35 cents can be written as 0.35. We've got to make sure that whenever we subtract decimals, that we line up that decimal point vertically. Now let's go ahead and find out what our difference is. So we're going to borrow from the 4. We've got 3. Now we have 10. But we've got to borrow from the 10 to get 9. And now we have 10 on the hundredths place. 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 3 is 6. Decimal point comes straight down when we subtract with subtraction. We'll put that sign over here so we remember it's subtraction. And 3 minus 0 is 3. So we have a grand total of $3.65. Remember, that would be called the difference because this is a subtraction problem. Now we've got a key vocabulary term that we need to know today. It's called inverse operations. In inverse operations, there's operations that undo one another. So, operations that undo one another, or opposite of each other, would be like positives, or addition, and negatives, or subtraction. Can you think of any other inverse operations other than addition and subtraction? Well, maybe you thought of multiplication and division, because multiplying and dividing can undo one another. Now when we work with inverse operations, it helps us to find missing numbers in problems. That's what the next part about this lesson is about when we talk about addition and subtraction patterns. Let's look at our next example. We want to find the missing number here. We have 472 plus a, some number that we don't know yet, is equal to 628. That would be our sum, because this is an addition problem. So we know the number is going to be between 472 and 628. Because we're adding it to 472 to get to 628. So the way we're going to solve this problem is by using the inverse operation of addition, which is subtraction. So we're going to take the bigger number, 628, and we're going to subtract 472 from that. Let's go ahead and see what our answer A is going to be. 8 minus 2 is 6. We're going to borrow from the 6. We've got 5. We now have 12 in the 10 spot. 12 minus 7 is 5. And 5 minus 4 is going to give us 1. So we've got 156. A must be equal to 156. And we've got our final answer. We could check and make sure our answer was correct by saying 472 plus A, 156, because we found that's what A should be equal to, and we should get an answer of 628. Let's see if we do. 2 plus 6 is 8. 7 plus 5 is going to give us 12. We're going to carry the 1. And 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 1 more gives us 6. We got 628. That means our answer for A of 156 is correct. We can move on to the next problem. Let's say we have this one. We're going to find the missing number. 526 minus some number is equal to 329. Now this problem is a little bit different. Okay, we're trying to find our subtrahend this time. So if we're trying to find our subtrahend, it has to be some number between 526 and 329. In order to find out what that number is, since it's between those two, we're going to have to subtract them. So we're not using the inverse operation this time. Minus 329, and let's see what we get. Well, we're going to borrow from the 2 to have 16. 16 minus 9 is going to give us 7. Okay, we run from 2. Well, we're going to borrow from the 5 to get 4 instead. Now we have 11, and 11 minus 2 is 9. 4 minus 3 gives us 1. We've got 197. X must be equal to 197. We could check our answer to make sure it's right by saying 526 minus that answer of X of 197, and we should get 329 if we're correct. Let's see if we are. We'll borrow from that 2. We now have 16. 16 minus 7 is 9. And borrow from the 5 to get a 4. We have 11. 11 minus 9 is 2. And 4 minus 1 is 3. We have 329. We got the answer right. We're 100% sure we got it because we checked our work. Let's look at one more example. We want to find the missing number. P minus 423 is equal to 287. Now if we've taken 423 away from some number and we have 287 left over, the number we start with, P, must be bigger than 423. So if it must be bigger than 423, we're going to have to add 287 onto it to figure out exactly what it is. So let's say 423 plus 287 and see what we get for our answer. 3 plus 7 is 10. We're going to carry that 1. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 8 gives us 11. We're going to carry that 1. 4 plus 1 is 5, plus 2 more gives us 7. We've got 710. P must be equal to 710. Let's go ahead and check and see if we're right. We'll use a different color this time. To see if we're right, we're going to say 710 minus 423, and we should get that answer of 287. Let's see if we do. We borrow from the 1, we get 0. Now we have 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. We're going to borrow from the 7 to get 6. We now have 10 in our 10 spot. 10 minus 2 is 8. And 6 minus 4 is 2. We got 287. We used the inverse of subtraction, addition, to find out what our answer P was. Nice work on this problem. Our lesson practice will continue this concept on page 13 during our next class. Make sure you've got your notes completed, and I'll see you soon.